A significant development on the North Korean front. China has announced it's ordering all Chinese companies operating in North Korea to close down to comply with ramped-up UN sanctions against the rogue regime. That's all part of the United States strategy to squeeze North Korea diplomatically and financially to avert war. Joining us now for a reaction is Gordon Chang, an East Asia expert and a columnist with the Daily Beast. So you think that this announcement today by China was very significant for a reason that you think China never thought they would do?
Yeah, it's because of the pressure from President Trump. You know, the Chinese, despite all the friction with Pyongyang, still support the Kim regime. But they look at Trump and they don't want to take him on. And so that's why the Chinese really went beyond what UN sanctions require with this announcement. And the whole issue is going to be people say, oh, you know, this must be a change in the attitude in Beijing. No, I think it's really going to be everyone's going to be starting to look at how rigorously the Trump administration continues to enforce this. If the administration does that, the Chinese are going to continue to yield to the president because they know that the U.S. has overwhelming leverage over the Chinese.
So do you think that President Trump is the one calling the shots in Asia right now?
Oh, absolutely. You know, the Chinese, everyone says, oh, you know, the Chinese own the 21st century. Well, they can't even deal with the North Koreans. And right now, it's the United States that is driving all of the efforts to denuclearize or disarm North Korea. And the Chinese are really bystanders, even in their own region. People are starting to notice that, and they're saying, you know, to Beijing, if you're such a superpower, how come you can't deal with Kim Jong-un? Mm-hmm. And so I think the Chinese are losing face, as we call it. But the most important thing is that people are starting to recognize that the U.S. is using its power to do something really good.
There's been a lot of hand-wringing by some that oppose President Trump that worry about a rhetorical war, that he says something about Lil' Kim and then comes back, and that this is going to maybe inadvertently lead to a miscalculation by Kim Jong-un, and that he might do something that he would regret and that we would not want to have to do. What do you hear from the region? Are they worried about an escalating war of words?
Yeah, I mean, everyone does worry about that, and especially, of course, in South Korea, which is right up against North Korea and Japan. But in general, though, you see both Seoul and Tokyo supporting President Trump because they realize the only country that can solve this is the United States. And so while I certainly would like to see the president maybe with a fewer insults, the most important thing I think he's doing, and it's really brilliant, were these sanctions that he put on North Korea on Thursday, because that's what prompted the Chinese announcement of today.
Do you think they're already having an effect in North Korea?
They will. I mean, sanctions always take time to work out. And what the United States needs to do is cut off all those flows of money for not only the missiles and the nukes, but gift politics. Kim Jong-un uses gifts like Mercedes and other luxuries to buy senior regime elements. He needs their loyalty. And so if President Trump can cut that money off, and it's going to be a difficult task, but I'm sure that we can do it if we continue to apply ourselves, if we don't take our foot off the accelerator.
Did you hear that story about North Korean officials reaching out to Republicans and Republican consultants so that they could try to figure out President Trump? Like, I think it would be hard as a North Korean official to go in and be called in by Kim Jong-un and be asked, like, what does this mean? And they're finding it really hard to explain because it's so unpredictable.
Yeah, well, that story is true because they have reached out, for instance, to Bruce Klingner of the Heritage Foundation, Douglas Paul of Carnegie. And the reason is that the North Koreans don't know what to expect out of Trump. And this story is also true in Beijing, where I think in the beginning they thought that they could collar Trump and basically push him around because they pushed around, you know, the previous president. But right now, I think the Chinese are wary of Trump, and that's why we saw this announcement. The North Koreans don't know what to do. Everyone is really off balance right now, and this gives President Trump an advantage because up until this 19th Party Congress for the Chinese, you know, it starts on October 18th.
It's a big deal.
Big deal. Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, is in a very vulnerable period. And that's why President Trump, I think, really pushed him with that sanctions announcement on Thursday.
Yeah, that's really interesting. People aren't necessarily paying attention to that. It's only about 3 weeks away. How often do they have these Congresses?
Once every 5 years.
Right.
And at this Congress, it looks like Xi Jinping is going to break a lot of the party's norms that were put in place by Deng Xiaoping to ensure stability. So people, although they understand that Xi Jinping is extremely powerful, there's a real possibility that if he falters, everyone is going to jump on him because there's so many people who have been disadvantaged by him in the last 5 years.
This is going to be fascinating, and we love it that you come on Fox News to explain it to us all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dana.
I thought that what in '68 Olympics. This is why I'm wearing this shirt. John Carlos and Tommy Smith, when they won the Olympics, they put the black fist up. A lot of people felt that was...
Excuse me, I have one other question.
Yeah.
When North Korea aims a missile at us, are these football players going to be on their knees, or are they going to support our veterans?
Say it again?
When North Korea aims a nuclear missile at us, are these heroes that you say, NFL, that can't support our flag, are they going to be on their knees when this happens, or are they going to support our veterans?
Sir, I'm worried just as much as Donald Trump as that crazy guy in North Korea. And he has a nuclear code. I'm worried about that.
We're worried about it, too.
Huh? Well, we're worrying together then.
Wow. Let me say something about the esteemed director, Spike Lee. This is a man who once said he did not like interracial couples. When he sees them on the street, he gives them visual daggers to make them feel uncomfortable. To my knowledge, he's never apologized for that. If Donald Trump had said something like that, and it could be verified, it's done. He never would have been president. Spike Lee openly speculated that he believed that it was possible that George W. Bush intentionally blew up the levees in New Orleans to flood the district so that blacks would have to leave. Oh, yeah. He has condemned gentrification, white people moving into Harlem. Never mind its help to appreciate the value of the mansion he has in New York, which he had on sale not long ago for over $30 million while holding a fundraiser for Obama and bitching and moaning about income inequality. Are you kidding me? He once said that Charlton Heston, then the president of the NRA, should be taken out and shot with a .44 caliber bulldog because of his support for the Second Amendment. This is a guy, Spike Lee, who has, in my opinion, played the race card time and time and time again. And he was wearing an X cap while talking to Anderson Cooper and to the other people. And that's from the movie Malcolm X that he made. And it's fascinating. I gave a speech once, and a young man had a T-shirt with an angry picture of Malcolm X on it. This is during the time the movie was out. And I asked him if had he read the autobiography of Malcolm X. He said he had. I said, the whole thing? He said, yes. I said, what happened at the end of the book? He said he renounced his racism towards white people and felt that we should embrace people as human. I said, why don't you have a picture of him in that phase? Why do you have the angry picture of him? Why? Why? He had no reason. I'm Larry Yoder. Don't leave. Now, on Spike Lee, a couple other things I forgot to tell you about. Do you know that he once said that Trent Lott was a, quote, card-carrying member of the Klan? I know he has a hood in that closet, close quote. He was on Good Morning America, on ABC's Good Morning America. I saw that with my own baby brown African-American libertarian eyeballs. And Trent Lott had just complimented Strom Thurmond on his 100th birthday. You might remember that controversy. And therefore, Trent Lott was a racist because he's flattering this old guy who ran in 1948 as a Dixiecrat. And Trent Lott does a perp walk and has to go on television, went on Black Entertainment Television and apologize for flattering this old guy at his birthday. I mean, it was insane. So Spike Lee's on Good Morning America. And he says, Trent Lott's a racist. He's a card-carrying member of the Klan. I know he's got that hood in the closet. And Robin Williams was there. Robin Roberts, rather, was there, didn't say anything. Diane Sawyer was not in studio. She was somewhere else on satellite. She goes, Spike, you can't go on national television and call a member of the Senate a card-carrying member of the Klan. You know, that's the hard-hitting questions that they do on the Good Morning America show. He didn't apologize. Said that Charlton Heston should be, quote, shot with a .44 caliber bulldog. This is the president of the NRA, should be shot with a .44 caliber bulldog. And there he is, pontificating on civil rights and justice in America, having said he dislikes interracial couples, and has, to my knowledge, never apologized for it. You tell me what that's all about. It's called double standard. A couple years ago, Colin Kaepernick, when he started the protests, said, quote, cops are getting paid leave for killing people. That's not right. You can become a cop in 6 months and don't have to have the same training as a cosmetologist. That's insane, he said, end of quote. Then the Alameda County Sheriff invited Kaepernick to training and go on a ride along after the comments he made. The Alameda County Sheriff's Office said, quote, "We would like to cordially invite you to the Alameda County Regional Training Center. We invite you to meet with our current academies and veteran officers to talk to them about their experiences and yours." We all felt in the sheriff's office, said one sheriff, that maybe he was speaking without exactly knowing what was going on, so we made an offer to him to come out and view our academy, talk to our academy students. Close quote. As far as I know, he did not take them up on the offer. And you remember the time that Colin Kaepernick was fined by the league for using the N-word on the field? You didn't know about that, huh? ESPN.com, September 23, 2014. Quote, "Colin Kaepernick has denied saying a racial slur to Bears defensive end Lamar Houston, who told the Chicago Tribune that the quarterback used the N-word. Kaepernick has denied saying anything racially derogatory, although he acknowledged he said something to Houston after throwing an interception against the Bears. Replays show Kaepernick said something to Houston on the replay. Houston, however, told the Tribune that the star quarterback was, quote, saying inappropriate language, close quote, including the N-word and a profanity. Kaepernick was called for an unsportsmanlike penalty after the play and was fined $11,025 last week. Houston claims he was not insulted by the racial slur, telling the Tribune it's a, quote, cultural thing, close quote. Houston is also black. Don't know if he would have called him that if he hadn't been black, but who knows? You think Trump would be president if somebody corroborated that he referred to somebody out of anger using the N-word? Any stories of Kaepernick has been compared to Jackie Robinson and Martin Luther King? Any stories of MLK referring to other black people, the N-word? And I don't know, it's just, hey, nobody's perfect, right? 888-971-SAGE is the number. Derek, you're in West something. West what?
That's West Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and I'm so glad I found your show, Larry. I've seen you on Fox before, and I love you every time I see you, and now I finally found you on the radio. So I work late, so I get to listen to your show now, so I'm really happy about that.
Well, Derek, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. I love that New England accent. I went to college in Providence, and so I recognize that accent.
Oh, I don't have the accent. You do.
Fair enough.
hey, you know, the NFL brought this on themselves. They should have squashed this as soon as it started. They're trying to blame Trump for this, and it's ridiculous. And you know, President Trump, he is the commander in chief. He is in charge of all things regarding the armed forces. And I think, you know, I really think he should actually just, you know, pull all of our, you know, official military services representation off the fields of the NFL. We can't let them sit there and be, you know, disrespected the way they are. I mean, these people risk their lives for our country. They volunteer to do this, and they do it for just about nothing as far as pay goes.
Absolutely.
And you have these, you know, these people that are millionaires that haven't done anything as far as I know. I mean, there's a few of them in there, I'm sure, that have done brave things, you know, with the military or maybe working with the police and stuff, and they're going to disrespect these people like this. It's a shame.
And Derek, not
you know, he only knows, he's only learned all of this, you know, communist left-wing propaganda. He's getting that from CNN. He got it from when he went to college, and he's getting that from the school system. We got a 6-year-old kid that's doing this the other day. I mean, it's sad. This is the narrative that Hillary Clinton, you know, George Soros, and Barack Obama pushed on America, and it's working.
And Derek, 8-year-old football players taking a knee along with the coach, and one football 8-year-old told the coach, "Black people are getting killed and nobody's going to jail," end of quote. Instead of the coach sitting him down, giving him some facts, the coach took a knee as well. Unbelievable.
It is. It's sickening. And you know what? The only good thing that can come out of this is that you know, it's terrible what's going on in the field, but the only good thing that can come out of this is that, you know, it starts a conversation, and you know, we get to the facts, we get to the truth, and the real problems in the community, had to do with family and jobs. And if we can get down to that point and that level and that honest part of the conversation, it'll be a good thing. But, you got to understand that the Democrats, they're going to kick and scream because they don't want to ever see, anybody in their base get a job from a Republican, policy. They're going to kick and scream to avoid that, and they're going to play this racial narrative for as long as they can.
Well, Derek, thank you for the call. I'll tell you something else that I think is going to happen. There's going to be a renewed, vigorous conversation about whether taxpayers should be footing the bill for the construction in whole or in part of these stadiums for the